Hey everybody, I am coming making this video message and I want to tell you, do not be weak-minded. Let me give you guys the definition of what it means to be weak-minded. To be weak-minded means you lack the intellectual capacity to know the difference sometimes between right and wrong, or you lack emotional intelligence, or you lack good judgment and mental strength and emotional strength. So a weak-minded person, their judgment is off when it comes to people, when it comes to the bad characters of people. Weak-minded people tend to believe whatever they're told. Weak-minded people don't ask questions. Weak-minded people sometimes tend to take in whatever information is given to them, and they fear asking questions. They fear asking questions depending on who the person or the people are that's giving them certain information or telling them certain things overall. And they fear it because they may love them, they may be attracted to them, they may be afraid of how they'll react if they question the person or the information that the person is given. But I wanted to talk to you all about being weak-minded, because when you are a weak-minded person, you leave yourself open to a lot of different things to come into your life. And one of the main things that come into your life is destruction. Destruction comes to people who are not wise in deciphering the hearts and motives and agendas of people. Destruction comes in the lives of people who are afraid to ask questions. Destruction comes in the lives of people who really don't put God first, and they don't pray to God and ask God to give them the gift of discernment. They don't ask God for his protection. They don't run people across the desk of God to see if God does or does not approve of someone that they are connected to. A lot of people now who are weak-minded, they also sit back and wait for someone to step on the scene and tell them what to do. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with anybody giving information to make suggestions to people, or even sharing your testimony and your background with people. These are not the types that I'm talking about, but I'm talking about people that you don't know their background. You know very, very little about them, and they will just come online, cut on the camera, have a microphone in their face, and they will sell you a dream. And the dream that they sell you, a lot of you all, or a lot of people, period, they will take it, put stock in it, believe what that person says, and they'll do what that person says to do, and they don't question anything. I never thought I would see in this day and age how some people can just turn on a camera and they'll tell people, this is a great example, they'll tell people, quit your 9-to-5 job. And they'll tell you to quit your 9-to-5 job because they quit their 9-to-5 job. And whatever little plot or scheme or whatever they have going on, it hit and it worked for them. So they will feel like, hey, listen, it worked for me, it can work for you. And so many people, I'm talking about, it's very sad, because you will see a lot of middle-aged and older people, they will take that information and then be foolish and go quit their job. They will not sit back and say, you know what, let me think about this for a minute. This person is telling me to quit my 9-to-5 job, but it would not be wise for me to quit my 9-to-5 job right now, because I don't have a plan A, I don't have a plan B or C. I don't have any savings. I don't have a backup plan. But this person, because they just had revenue that shot through the roof, I'm just going to listen to whatever they say because my motive is wrong. And I want money. I want to be rich. This is what a lot of people are doing now. They have not prayed about anything. They have not asked God anything. They will just sit back and listen, and really will be fooled and deceived into thinking that someone was anointed to give them certain information in that arena. And they'll just tell you, yeah, just quit your 9-to-5 job. Who does that? Who just comes online and tell you to quit your job? And all of these people are going out quitting their job. They're not sitting back thinking, okay, you know what, that situation worked for that person, and whatever they did, it helped them. But if I go and do the same thing, it's going to put me at risk of losing my car because I won't be able to pay my car note. I won't be able to pay my rent or mortgage. I will not be able to buy groceries for myself, children, or my family. I will not be able to pay all the bills that I need to pay. Who will up and jump and quit their 9-to-5 job with no solid plan? The point that I'm making is that weak-minded people, they do this. They listen to the information from somebody else and they will sell you a dream or a get rich quick scheme. And without you praying about it, without you knowing the character of the person, without you knowing the true intentions of the person that is telling you to do exactly what they did and talking about how they got rich, you'll just take it and put stock in it. Another great example is so many people out here now, because a lot of people are very desperate for love and companionship. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with desiring love. There's nothing wrong with desiring marriage. But what I'm saying is that some people have gotten to the point that they are angry because they have been single for so long. So somebody could just come out of nowhere and tell you, oh, I love you. How do you love me and you don't even know me? You have no clue who I am. But you're telling me that you love me? You're telling me that you want to marry me? We've only been talking for 1 week. We've only been talking for 2 weeks. I don't know anything about you. Some people out here, they will listen to something that some person tells them because they are desperate for love. This is where it comes in, having emotional intelligence, having emotional strength, having the emotional and mental and intellectual capacity in order to decipher right from wrong. A lot of weak-minded people, they won't take that with somebody telling them all the time that they love them or they want to marry them. They won't take that and say, you know what, something is off with this person. Something is off. It's something that they want from me because this person doesn't know me from a can of paint. And I've only been talking to them for 1 or 2 weeks. And now all of a sudden they love me. Now all of a sudden they want to marry me. They don't know anything about me. I can literally unalive them tonight. And they don't know anything about me or what I'm capable of doing. People don't sit back and think about that. You don't think about the person and say, who is that person? Before they started talking to me and telling me they love me, how many other people have they come across and told the exact same thing to? A lot of people, they don't ask these questions. Weak-minded people believe whatever they hear on the news. This is another great example of what I'm about to give you all as far as what people do. Something will hit on the news and it's breaking news and people will have an outcry about it. There will be an uproar about it, but people won't ask questions. And so a few months ago, I believe towards the end of the summer, if I'm not mistaken, a very well-known bank, a very popular bank, hit the news. And the news was a woman that worked at this particular bank was found deceased. And people did not find her body until 4 days later. Immediately when I heard it, I said, well, I don't really have an opinion about this because enough information has not come out. As things develop, I guess the news or certain platforms that are speaking out about it, more understanding will come as to why this woman's body was found 4 days after she was deceased. But I just immediately knew in my spirit, I said, no, something else is going on. The news is not reporting enough information. They're just giving tidbits of this situation because what does a lot of news stations do? They sensationalize certain stories. They will exaggerate certain stories. They will omit certain information. And so what does a lot of people do? The majority of people, they start making assumptions. They start talking out of turn. They start speaking presumptuously. So many people were saying immediately without having anything besides the just basic information and tidbits. Oh, a woman, they said her age. Oh, this woman, blah, blah, blah. She was found deceased. She had been deceased for 4 days at this bank. That's all they reported. They never gave any other information. But people were saying, oh, whoever the CEO is of this bank, or the CFO, they need to step down. Oh, whoever is the husband or the grandchildren or the children or siblings of this deceased woman, they need to sue this bank. And where were the co-workers? Oh, the co-workers hated this woman. How could this woman be found deceased in her cubicle for 4 days and none of her co-workers around her thought to go check on her? They didn't think to call. They didn't think to send security. Nobody asked questions. So for days went by, and I'm just like, wow, everybody is in an uproar. There's been a surge of people saying all types of stuff from this little bit of information that was given about this deceased woman. Come to find out, the reason why this woman was found 4 days later is because she died on a Friday. Her body was found on Monday morning. I believe Monday morning or early Monday afternoon. But she died on a Friday. Think about it, guys. Now, this was a bank. Now, I don't know how banks operate in your city or your state, but I'm in Illinois. I'm in Chicago, Illinois. Most banks here in Chicago during the week, Monday through Friday, they open up at 9 o'clock a.m. Some open up at 8 o'clock a.m. And they usually close between 4:30 and 6:30. Okay, now on the weekend, a lot of times they open later. Instead of opening up at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., they may open up at 9:30 or even 10 o'clock or 10:30 a.m. and they close early. They don't close at 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 o'clock. They close sometimes at 12 o'clock. They close sometimes at 1 o'clock or 1:30 or 2 o'clock. I've never known a bank on a Saturday to be open where I'm from on a Saturday and close after 2 o'clock. Usually they open up at 9:30, 10 o'clock a.m. They're closed at 12. They're closed at 1 or 2. The point that I'm making is that this woman died on a Friday and they found her Monday. And then think about it also, guys. A lot of people don't work on the weekends. Think about your own co-workers. How many of them are willing to work on the weekend? They're only doing their 40 hours Monday through Friday, and that's it. They don't want to work overtime. So it would stand to reason that it was very few people at work on Saturday. And they probably were not even working in her area on her floor. But people jump to conclusions, believe that little tidbit of information that these various platforms gave out and that these news stations gave out, and they didn't ask enough questions. I will put that in the category of people being weak-minded. Not everybody, but certain people. This is why you cannot talk out of turn. This is why you cannot keep making assumptions. People become weak-minded and they do it all the time. They fear asking questions. They fear challenging certain things. But you got to know the appropriate time and place to challenge certain things. But it's not a crime to ask questions. But people fear it. I've seen weak-minded people just believe and put stock in whatever they are told. And their life is full of chaos and drama. I'd rather be hated for asking questions, because asking questions is a sign of intelligence. So many people will try to shame you and guilt you for asking questions. Certain people say you ask a lot of questions. You ask too many questions. That's what you're supposed to do. That's how you learn. That's how you grow, from asking questions. When you don't know something, you are supposed to ask questions. A lot of you all, you don't want to pray. You don't want to go to God about friends. You don't want to go to God about somebody that you're dating. You don't want to go to God about certain family members. And then weak-minded people, they will completely ignore the track record of a particular person that's telling them something. So let's just say, ladies, in a single arena, you have this man that randomly comes into your life and you're really strongly attracted to him and he likes you. But after a week, he's telling you that he loves you. Now, you may know him, and I'm not going to even say he's random. I'm going to say that it's a guy that you knew for some years, but you know his track record. You know his track record of being a habitual or compulsive liar. You know he has a track record of having a lot of mothers of his children. His children are all scattered around by different women. You know, he has a track record of sleeping around with a lot of women, and men, you go through it too. You don't look at the track record of that woman. You know that woman's name is on the mouth of a lot of men. You know that that woman may be emotionally unavailable. You know that the woman is a money hungry woman. She only wants to deal with men who has money. You have to be doing something for her to even have a conversation with you. But a lot of you all will be weak-minded, caught up in your lust, caught up in your attraction for the person, and you'll just put stock into whatever they tell you or whatever they say to you. So many people have even opened up their doors to allow people to come into their homes, just weak-minded, because they are so thirsty for a companion. They are so thirsty for a relationship. They are so thirsty just to kick it and have fun, but they don't ask questions. They don't pray about certain things. God has to be the head of your life. Bottom line, cut dry. God has to be the head of your life. You need to run everything past the desk of the Lord. You need to be patient. You need to learn how to be a better judge of character. See, if you're honest with yourself, and you know that you are a weak-minded person in several areas, or you know that you tend to be weak-minded, again, lacking emotional intelligence, lacking intellectual capacity to decipher right from wrong, or you know that you tend to be the type of person that is afraid to ask questions, the thing that you need to do to get over being a weak-minded person who is susceptible to believe anything is you need to go to God. You need to pray. You need to go to God about everything and everybody. It's prideful when you don't go to God and ask for his guidance and his help when it comes to every area and aspect of your life. And then a lot of people in the body of Christ, they get got because, like I said, you'll look at something on the news and you won't ask questions. You won't go to God about it. You won't sit and think. You'll just listen to whatever they tell you. And the Bible talks about in the last days how even, and I'm just paraphrasing, but I believe it's in Revelation, where they will tell a lie. When the rapture happens and different things are going on, they will report on the news and basically tell a lie. And a lot of people will fall prey to it and susceptible to it, not even understanding that certain things that happens in the last days lines up with the Bible and the Word of God. But they will be weak-minded and just listen to what a news reporter told them. Like I said, a great example is this woman that died at this very well-known bank. Out of respect, I don't want to say the bank's name, but look it up. Google it for yourself. And they gave very little information. Now, since the story is out there and it was reported that she died over the weekend, now they probably have a bunch of the information now. But for a week and a half, 2 weeks, all they said is that this lady, that I think they told her age and her name, and they said she was found deceased in this bank. They never said that at first. When they first reported it, it was never said that she died on the weekend. I think they gave a date. Let me take that back. I do believe that they gave a date, but you all know when they give a date, people don't go and look on the calendar. They just look at the date. That's it. They look at the date. But I don't think people went and saw that it was on a Friday. They just took the news, and once they took it, they just ran with it. They took it and they ran with it, and just was believing whatever. Wasn't asking questions, wasn't saying anything, but they were speaking out of turn, talking about this deceased woman's co-workers, saying that, oh, her co-workers hated her. People were in comment sections like, oh, that lady co-workers hated her. They couldn't even check on her. People didn't smell the body. Okay, if she died on a Friday, we already know by the time Saturday rolled around that rigor mortis set in. Okay, I don't think that 24 hours later that you gonna necessarily smell a body. But all I'm saying is that it wasn't enough information given, and so all of these people were talking but not thinking. If you didn't look and see the date that she had passed away was on a Friday, then you just started saying all this other stuff without doing your personal investigations. It was on a weekend. The amount of people that was in this bank Monday through Friday, probably half of them that were there during the week are probably not coming into work on Saturdays. It was probably very few people. As far as the maintenance men go, maybe they didn't come and clean that area. Maybe they cleaned it on Saturday but said, I'll get to the other side, or the area where the woman worked at in her cubicle, maybe I'll do that other side Monday. You just don't know how things are set up. Maintenance men or janitors, who, whatever you want to call them, maybe they are trained to just clean a certain area of the bank building, and then they're told, okay, the next day or that following Monday after the weekend, you clean the other side. You just don't know. And so the whole overall point is that you can't be weak-minded. When you hear certain information and you don't have all the facts, you don't know enough information, especially if you know you haven't gone to God about it and you have not prayed about it, then you only have yourself to blame when things start falling apart in your life. You only have yourself to blame. You have got to, at some point, put your emotions, your attraction, and your feelings to the side and really look at people for who they are. It's not to judge them. It's not to say that everybody is not worthy to be loved or worthy to get a companion and fall in love. But what I'm saying is that everybody who comes at you is not worthy to have access to you or be in your life. Stop fearing people of God asking questions. Stop being prideful and avoiding talking to God and asking God questions. Sometimes you can want something so bad that you won't even go to God and stop to see how God feels about it, because you fear that God is going to tell you no. But my thing to say to you all is, and it's coming from the Spirit, why would you be offended if God does tell you no? It doesn't matter how you feel. God sees and knows what you don't see or know. So if he tells you no, no, daughter, you can't date that man. No, son, you can't date that woman. You may feel some type of way about it, but God knows things about them that you don't. He sees things about them that you don't. He created them. He's seen how they've been their entire life, and they may not fit in your life. And sometimes it doesn't even mean that the person is bad. It's just that they are not the person for you. You're not a match for them. Stop being weak-minded, my beautiful brothers and sisters. Now is the time. If you have never started going to God and praying to God and asking God questions and running everybody that you're connected to across him, especially when somebody is in your personal space. I'm talking about praying about your boss at work, praying about somebody you're talking to or dating, sitting back and seeing if God is going to drop something in your spirit about something you see on the news or information you're being given. Certain influencers selling you a dream about how to get rich, and they're telling you just out the blue, quit your job. That is insane. That is insane. And I'm sorry, there is no other way to say it, but you are a weak-minded person if you put stock in that. Because whatever works for other people in that arena of financial gain, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. Just be careful, guys. That's the video message. Well, guys, it's time for me to go because I have some other things to do. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If any one of you have taken offense to anything I spoke about in this video message, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I am not concerned because I know you will forgive me in the morning.